The morning show continues. We're switching gears a little bit, and education, of course, is another topic we talk a lot about here and generally. And in the studio with us is General Manager of Grace Primary School, Mrs. Sandra Bradshaw. Good morning, dear.
Good morning. And good morning, Belize. And nowadays it's the world too, right?
Yeah,
The world is watching.
Yeah.
What's up with G.P.S?
Well, we could begin by giving you a little snippet of where we came from.
Right.
If you're interested. I'm sure you are. Grace Primary was established in 1954. And the doors opened. You had people like Mr. Clark, Mr. Salendo, Gloria Smith, too. And then eventually, about 1959, Miss Gloria Edwards, who I'm sure you have heard of, who was principal from about 1959 to about 2000. I don't know if that's a record, right? 1961, of course, we had Hurricane Hattie, and they had to rebuild or, do some renovations. In 1963, about 1963, 70s they continued. Of course, 81 was our independence. And in 1985, by virtue of Grace Primary holding its own, particularly in the arts, the school was asked to perform when the Queen visited in 1985, right? We continued until about in 2003, when what they refer to as the Zunantunich building, it's a tall building, was put in the yard at Amara Avenue.
Right.
Right, that's about 2003, under the Honorable Cordell Hyde. And of course, Grace Primary too. Then in 2017, the first building, the admin for the vice principal, and about 4 buildings were placed at Farbers Road campus. 2017.
Okay.
We like to mention the original students because really our school centers around the students. So you had people like Brad Patico. I'm sure you've heard of Brad.
Yes.
Yes, Brad and his brother, and the Leslie sisters, Heidi and her brother. Heidi Gutierrez was Leslie then. And ever since then, the school centers around the children, but it also focuses on developing them, their spirit, mind, and body, all to the glory of God. So he's really the center of our organization. Under, it's a group known as the Christian Brethren, but we are open to all. And we have different groups represented there at Grace Primary. So that was 2017 when the building first went there at Farbers Road campus. And then in 2021 now, we realized that we needed to look at our buildings. And the building at Grace Primary, as you can see there, we needed to do some serious repairs. We were very privileged, and we are happy to say we work closely with the community and with past students. And so we had, this is the engineer, Miss Rami Chia, and Mr. Moody Evandale. He is a past student. And of course,
he's a past student.
Yes, he is. And so both of them did the whole assessment for us, gratis, And then we realized, we really have to do some work here. Not only do we have to do some work here at Amara Avenue, but we need to also continue the process of expansion, which began from in the 90s in terms of the plans. I remember when my children were there, and the emphasis was placed on getting this big plan for Farbers Road. The plan is for 16 classrooms to be there, the admin building and so on. And so in 2021, that was done. Early 2022, the Honorable Minister, and just let me backtrack a little. The buildings there at Farbers Road, the first building that was put down there, that was under Minister Patrick Farber, right? And then we decided, we have to start another expansion. And this is nothing new for us.
Yeah.
Building, as a matter of fact, our theme song is "We build our school on thee, O Lord." Right? So building is infrastructural as well as for the people. And that's when we got under a 5-year plan called Innovation 21-26. We started to make plans, and we approached the Honorable Minister Fonseca, and through all of the consultations, a lot of consultation was done. We decided to go through, and we put down 3 buildings with their assistance. The ministry helped us, and finance, the country, really,
Yeah.
60,000. Of course, you know, with costs, other costs associated with it, came up to about 90,000. We got an 11% discount with the the tax. But we had other things like to fill the yard,
Of course,
about 7,000, to do the burglar bars and other things. So when you look at, and remember we were also doing repairs at Amara Avenue. So when you combine everything, firming up the footings of the buildings, that was about 130 to 40,000.
Everything.
Right. So we had fundraisers, and to buttress the 60,000 that we got to
Yeah.
cover that whole 130 odd thousand. So we had to be frugal, we had to be punctual,
That's
we
right.
had to be organized. You know. But that's where we are today.
You know,
with
you
3
talked about some of the
classrooms.
tangible milestones.
Yes.
Infrastructural especially. What about some of the softer milestones, like
Yes.
your program development?
Yes,
over
very
the
good.
years?
And I'm glad you brought that up, because building is not just infrastructural.
Right.
Right. We're there, as I told you, based on our motto to develop the spirit, mind, soul, body of the students. And so the 5-year plan addresses that. It's under Innovation 21-26 too, of course. And the acronym there is Landmaster. So that's literacy and numeracy, music, arts, sports, science, technology, and because we have almost 4 acres of land at Farber's Road, we have agriculture in there. That's how you get
Oh,
Landmaster. Right? When in 2021, we got the ministry to come in to deal with the different class levels with the teachers, to look at what we have. We have what we call action groups with the different groups, maybe infant 1 and 2, standard 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to seek to address the academic aspect, particularly coming out of COVID. Because, you know, we had to be online. At one point, we were doing both as we were coming out, face-to-face and online. Coming out of COVID, you realize the literacy is something that we have to address, the reading and so on. So we had to start putting emphasis there and incorporating creative ways of dealing with that. Softer means administration too. We are making a very gallant effort to address governance and leadership, because it's a church-state school, it's government-aided, means that we get all the salaries for the teachers, they're paid by our government, but we have to foot the rest,
Right.
including our expansion and so on. And so that means regrouping, a reorganization, a refocus, bearing in mind the Innovation 21-26. And so we have a bursar / secretary to assist us in that area and helping us to reorganize. We're having this governance and leadership meeting to regroup as the proprietors, because the church, the Christian missions, own the school. And we'll be meeting to look at the different roles that each one of them and board members play as we seek to forge ahead. It also means we have to bring the school up to speed in terms of technology. And so we have a plan going right now for the digitization of the whole school, which would see teachers properly equipped with laptops. And the minister, Patrick Farber, who recently gave a donation of $3,000, has also promised to give 7 laptops for the teachers there, and we are having a major thrust.
Is that from the Ministry of Education?
No, that's
No,
Honorable Patrick Faber in the
Oh,
opposition.
yes, sorry.
Right now,
Right. We work with all the community, everybody around, and we try to attract the past students too. And so based on that, we have a GoFundMe, right? And which the administration is helping the alumni to get off the ground in a legal context. We always want to make sure that everything is legally set. And so that GoFundMe has taken off already, but will kick off even more at this juncture. Yeah.
What's the reaction like from your past students?
Oh, they're very excited. They can't wait for
Grace
us to
Primary
get
has a
this
good
in.
name. I gotta say that.
They
It
can't
has a
wait.
good
They
name.
have started already. When we had that fundraiser in February, March last year, a lot of them came out to support, and they are supporting in between. There is also a foundation known as the Pearl Bradshaw Hales Foundation. Of course, that's my mom, who was a teacher par excellence and a principal who passed away in 2021. And we have that foundation, and that foundation is giving back to Grace Primary in terms of supplies. We did a small set, and another set will be coming in a few weeks. Supplies for the teachers, very important, And we use this opportunity, if you don't mind, to appeal to our past students. As you're hearing me cite the needs, the computer, for instance, as we are seeking to get our finances, because, as we're expanding and you have to do plans to share with organizations locally and abroad, you have to show that, be able to have evidence to show that everything is in order. And when we digitize and so on with respect to the finances. So we want to make sure that technologically we are up there. So we need, as we're speaking, like a computer urgently, like last week, for our bursar/secretary, and for the others that we'll seek to put in.
Ms. Bradshaw, has Grace Primary lost any of its edge when it comes to the arts over the years?
Yes, you haven't, and that's a very good question. And I'm glad it's coming from the community, because you knew where we were in terms of out there performing and so on. COVID was part of it, among other issues. And that's why I told you we'll be having this Saturday this big meeting with the leadership to address some of those things. We want to bring back we have an excellent music teacher in the person of Carlos Perote, right?
Heard of him?
Yes. And it is we're envisioning that when these children come in from infant one, right, they will be able to be exposed from then to the theory, learning different instruments, and you expose them. You expose some to sports. You expose them, and as they go up, by the time they reach 4 or 5, they will know which area they want to specialize in based on their talent and their inclination. And so there's going to be a major thrust in terms of getting back the dance program. We were known under Miss Rosita. We want to get that going again, along with the sports. We actually have our eye on a gentleman who can double for now in the future, not too distant, as the sports director and agricultural person, as we seek to get that aspect of.
Is the agriculture still already on, or you're still using some
it's
of
still
those?
in the planning.
Still in the
planning
Still in the
phase.
planning.
Yes.
So you have 2 campuses,
Yes. we
Amara
have
and
one
Fabas.
school,
One school.
but 2 campuses.
And they both carry the same classes, or one
no,
is...
infant 1 from down here at Amara Avenue
Right,
to
right.
about 3, and then up there we have 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. What's
So,
the student body?
500 and odd.
500 and odd.
Yes, 23.
It's one of the
teachers.
in-demand primary schools, isn't it, in the
Yes,
country?
and we have been here for a while. I told you already, since 1954.
No, but I mean, apparently it's one of the preferred primary schools for parents who want to send their children.
Yes, and we want to keep it that way. If you want to keep something that way, you cannot remain static in your approach. And hence this all-out thrust to increase, to carry us up in terms of technology, organization, and forward planning.
Right.
Right.
Right. You seem to have a lot of challenges. I mean, especially when you mention digitization, it's something that
Yes.
that should be second nature to schools now.
Yes, but
Yeah.
we are in the process, a plan is in the background, actually planning for that, for the infrastructure, and to get that in place so that all our records, financial and otherwise, so you'll be able to just access your transcript, etc. But
Yeah.
you mentioned challenge. I don't know if you know, we just had a recent serious burglarized.
We mentioned it this
Right.
morning, yes.
Up at Farber's Road.
Yeah.
And that came on the heels of two, one in December at Amara Avenue and early January. So this one was really a tough one for us. They went in the canteen, play up with the food, ate whatever. So you know you had to discard all of that.
Yeah.
They broke into the burglar bar area that led to the vice principal's, Mr. Hernandez office, and the teacher's bathroom. They went with a lot of supplies. They went with the vice principal's computer, right? It's a good thing we have a good relationship, client relationship, and so with Cygotronics, and they're assisting us. We're very grateful. You have Tile Depot, I have to mention different ones who are giving.
Yeah.
Minister Usher, Gilroy Usher too, has given. BFLA has helped us with equipment, some of the cupboards and so on for the school. Joan Burke-Skeen, her family, very dear to us and always assisting. We had the challenge with the hurricane. There were some students and parents who lost their homes. So we got together with different groups who reached out to us so we could have assisted with even as basic as food sometimes, linen and all that. So yes, but this one though, that happened, we suspect it was last Saturday night. Was really terrible.
And it seems that these burglars just don't want to steal; they want to destroy. They like the Bix, or I don't know how you put it.
Right.
And you see, we're talking about one side where we are very angry. We are not pleased. And then there is the other side that I'm going to share with you.
Yeah.
For instance, one Sunday evening, a video was sent to me. You actually saw the little boys climbing up on the wall and what they have dismantled some of the things that pertain to security and so on for the school. So we need to reach out to these young people in the community too. And one of the ways is through the sports that we hope to get going, right? And other outreaches, the spiritual outreach, which we did when we had that big fundraiser. We had a former known drug, Lord, you would call him, Dion Gutierrez, who came and ministered, especially he made an impact on the young men there. So while on one hand, we are very angry, we have to realize that because many of them are kids. If I would show you that video, you would see. We have to see how we can reach out and change them from that path that they're on. And that might involve like a cadet going with music and so on. And the sports, of course.
This is a successful school in Southside, you can say.
Yes.
But do you face some of these problems other schools in the area face, like
Of course.
kids, can't walk the street or they can't come to school? Because I know that Grace Primary has always catered to, in the past, to more like stable families,
The affluent,
and
more the
affluent and so on.
Yeah.
So it gives you impression that the school itself is a little more affluent than normal. Is that still the case?
Even back then, although you had, and you remember you didn't have many schools.
No.
And that is what is pushing us, because you have like Hummingbird, you have Belize Elementary now who have come and have picked up the pace.
Right.
So we have to pick up the pace, right? We have always had a mix in terms of affluent and those in dire need. You see it more so now because of the way things are going. And but I must tell you that whether they're affluent or not, young people are going through experiencing a tough time. Coming out of COVID, their own development. Some come from homes where, there are certain problems, and we will need to expand the counseling part. Sometimes you have some serious issues, and parents sometimes feel, you know, like, please, we need some help. And there are other parents who are willing to also assist.
Yeah.
So this is where our past students, the community, and the funders, those who are willing to fund, you know, because every school you go to now will tell you that there's a dire need for that counseling aspect.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
I know, like you mentioned, you guys are connected to religion. In what ways is that incorporated into the day-to-day student life?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for asking. It's, as I tell
You're
you, it's
on
at
a
the
roll these
center.
days.
I call it sip of my coffee.
We rotate the classes, like on a Sunday when they'll visit our church service, and of course the children will minister too, and they're ministered to. We have Belly's camping experience that has been working with us for years, and they come with a real creative, you know, kind of way to get the children excited. Children have energy. They can't just sit down and just talk and talk. Even in teaching.
Right. They need to be moving.
Yes,
yeah.
so they help, and plus we have others in between. The teachers also do an excellent job. You have morning devotions. We want to establish some clubs where they can be active and also learning at the same time. And I must let you know, we have people who pray for us. They not only support us financially, which is very important, but they also pray for us and check in with us. You know, people who we can call, and we have a board. We have a nurse administrator
are
on
these
it.
people
You know,
past students or
not
or
yet, but we
parents?
want. You remember I tell you we're working on the governance leadership,
Yeah,
so we
right.
want to get them. Well, on the board you have a parent-teacher representative. We would like to further down to have a kind of mock board or governance type thing with the children to start getting them in this kind of leadership role. You know?
leadership roles.
Yeah, but the spiritual is definitely, you know, emphasized there, and the teachers and the principal and vice principal. Principal Mrs. Garnett, the vice principal Mrs. Hernandez, and of course the whole school is involved. All our
Right.
teachers, you know.
What's the PTA parent teachers relationship like? One complaint of a lot of schools,
Yes.
the parents just don't show up for meetings or things like that.
And remember now, this is just 1 year and 4 months, right, in terms of my tenure here. And we had 2 major meetings, and of course we had to do those online.
Yeah.
We were either in COVID or coming out. We embarked on this major venture, which many of the parents helped in terms of they came out for our fundraiser, and they're supporting. This Saturday, this governance leadership is all part of that, because there are some policies that need to be revisited. There are those that need to be buttressed or changed or whatever.
Yeah.
And you have to, you see, it's, as you know, it's a timely, systematic logistics have to be in place and so on. But so we have to do a whole new reorganizing of the Parent Teachers Association, which will come on the heels of this meeting that we're having. But other than that, they're very involved. They have helped us, for instance, with the building. Remember now, you know, we had you have to put in fans, chairs, water coolers, and boy, those parents just rally, and the teachers.
That's
and some of the
beautiful.
teachers'
That's
spouses.
lovely to hear. That community
Yes,
involvement, that's
But
good to hear.
we are a long way off.
You need more, obviously.
Much more.
Obviously.
We need to put down 3 buildings at Farbers Road this September. So we have applied to SIF, and we are working assiduously towards getting that.
What would those buildings host?
3 more classrooms.
Okay, classrooms.
Yes, we're gradually making that transition in terms of the classrooms.
Okay.
Yes.
How is the school working along with this whole new curriculum that the government ministry is implementing?
Yes, there were certain challenges, but the good thing about it with Dr. Zabani and his team, I was part of the committee too that was looking at it, is that you have that open door policy where you, and I would get the feedback from the teachers and then they came as recent as a few weeks ago to check in to see. There were some glitches in new approaches towards math or teaching like that, but we're turning the curve, you know, and we are committed to working with the government and the people of Belize because it's an approach that involves them more, the students, and it seeks to link, for instance, music with teaching, you know, and other areas linking, instead of always just having them in little cubby holes separate, you know.
I know one of the issue that a lot of primary schools face is actually collecting school fees. I know it becomes an issue. I don't think Grace Primary would be any different.
Again, the government helps too in terms of paying, because there are people in our community with dire need. You know, we have to face that, and so some funds come that way. Our parents, yes, you have some issues because we all are coming out of this challenging period. And that is why we want to firm up the PTA and look at areas where we can actually continue to assist, maybe even providing scholarships for students who do well. And I want to mention Miss Charmaine Saunders, a past student, Dr. Charmaine Saunders, who gives in that area every year scholarship to help us. So we're very grateful. And every need that I'm highlighting here is an opportunity for people to be part of, to invest in our school. And when you do that, you're investing in the future of our country. I cannot emphasize that enough.
For those who want to invest, once again, how can they do that?
Okay, we have the GoFundMe, and we're going to be showing it later on not in here, on Facebook, where you can go and, you know, that's the place.
So the link will be there.
The link will be there, and we will be promoting it even more, particularly after this meeting on Saturday. You know, also you can call me 600-4913. Text me, message me, you know, and we will be more than happy. The principal, Mrs. Garnett, the vice principal, Mrs. Hernandez, our bursar, Miss Stella Codd, and of course our board members, our chairman, Dr. Phil Gongara, who is really committed to the vision.
You have a strong group there.
Yes, the chairman of the proprietorship, Mr. Norman Williams, and of course Brother Denzel Jenkins, who is really behind us, you know. And we have Mr. Roy Boyne, and of course, you know, he has a wealth of experience. Mrs. Kathy Godinez, a nurse administrator, you know.
We're full of influential people.
I think you guys are set, man. In a good hand.
And it's not set, you know. When we sit, we just had a meeting as late as yesterday, and when you look at the figures, you know, right now we had to recover from this break-in. It's over $5,000.
Which increase your costs again for more security.
Yes, and we are negotiating, working with BEL in terms of security to get lights. We are working with the police to see if we can get a booth up there for several reasons too. And I want to appeal to the drivers when you're passing the school. For Grace, we have this, at Amara Avenue, we have this the bump. At Fabers Road, we have a bump too. But if we did not have a good warden, you know, we would have been in trouble. The people just fly past.
Wow.
You know?
We need school regulations to slow down when you're near a school.
Right.
Well, all the best to you, and I can see from your behavior that you have quite an energetic, innovative and visionary group leading Grace Primary.
Yes, we do.
And I don't think Grace Primary has to worry about its image. Has always had a good image.
Yes, and we want to maintain it and carry it even higher.
All right, we want to say thank you to you, Ms. Sandra Bradshaw, General Manager of Grace Primary School. Thank you so much for being here, for updating us on how the institution is doing, and all the best to you. And of course the entire institution there.
Bring out that the community can work together.
That's right.
And it is working out together.
That's right.
A lot of bad news we hear every day.
But this is some refreshing news. So thank you.
And I just want to
that.
mention two other proprietors. Brother Small, he isn't well, but his son kind of deputizes, and Brother Kane.
Okay.
Too. Right.
All right.
But
Well, shout out to them. All right.
Yes.
And you are always welcome.
Yes,
All right,
thank
guys.
you.
It's 27.